Hey everyone, this is Azam. So I'll be explaining you guys how to integrate YouTube API with C#. .NET. So to integrate an API, the first thing is get the API key. So for that we need to go to the console.cloud.google.com. First thing is to create a project. We need to create a project. So I'll name it YouTube API and create. After that, we need to go to API and services and enable APIs and services. Here we need to search YouTube. So we'll be integrating YouTube data API. Enable. So after that, we need to create credentials to get the API key. So we'll be selecting YouTube data API. And here it's asking us we need to use this for user data and public data. We will be only accessing the public data, so we'll select that. After that, it give us our API key, so we'll copy it and done. So here in our project we need to hide the API key, so we'll be opening app.config, and here we'll create a new app settings, and here add key will be API key and value will be our API key. After that, we need to add the reference to app.config. System.configuration. Add it. Here, if we study the YouTube API, we get a lot of data. We'll go to references. And here it tells us a lot of things about this API. We can get activities, captions, channel banners. So I'll be creating a program which lists all the videos titles in a playlist. So for that I need to be concerned with playlist items. Here overview. For this we see we can do a lot of things with playlist item endpoint, and this is the structure it provides us. So our main concern is listing the items. As I said, I'll be creating a program that lists all the YouTube playlist items in a list. So I'll click on list items. Here it provides us a console. Here if we study what is part, the part property, we will be writing those elements or objects names that we are mainly concerned with. So here this is the structure of JSON object. It provides us a snippet. Inside the snippet it provides a lot of things: published, at, date, time, title. So we'll be mainly concerned with the title of the video, so we will be needing the snippet element. So we'll be pasting the snippet part in the request form. Here if we type snippet and ID, it asks us for a ID of the playlist. Sorry, here it asks us the ID of the playlist. So here I have a playlist, and we can simply get the ID by the URL. We'll copying it. After that we paste it here, and if we execute our request, here we can see our response. Our response has items. Inside our items we have snippet. Inside snippet we have a lot of data, but we don't need it. So we can filter the JSON file. We can filter and type inside this field element. Here we can see inside this field element, only those only those properties will come in in the response what we type. So here we need items. Inside items we need snippet, and snippet has title and description. So we need these two, this and this. So if we type field items and snippet, inside items we need snippet, and inside the snippet we need title and description. So if we run our request again, see what it returns us. It only returned us items and snippet and title and description, only the things we need in the request. So now we have a clear picture of what fields our API request should have. It should have a snippet, a playlist ID, and fields element. Also, the limit of items in one request is 50. So we need to type that too. Max results 50. Now if we come to our program here, so the first thing we will ask from the user is enter playlist ID, and we will store it in our string. Now after that we will be creating a function that returns us a result against this playlist ID. So the function name will be get video in playlist, and it will also be an async function. The request should be asynchronized. Also, we will be passing it a playlist ID, and it will return a dictionary, so we'll get result from it. Now if we create it, also it should be a task. So if you don't know about async function in C#, you need to learn that. It's very important for running API requests. And also we will create a function that will print results, and we will be passing it result. Now in this function, we need to pass parameter to our request. So we will be needing a dictionary, and new dictionary, and type will be string. Inside the dictionary, the first key will be the API key, and to get it we need to first type configuration manager .app settings API key, as we kept our API key inside the configuration manager, app settings, and API key. Here we'll get the API key, and after that we need a field with playlist ID, and that will be this parameter that we just received, playlist ID. Third thing will be the part. As I explained, the part is the main object inside the JSON that we are focusing on. So that will be snippet. First word small. After that we need fields. So as we discussed, inside here we'll copy it and here paste it here. And max results, don't forget it, it's very important. And it will also be a string here. Now first thing, we need to create a base URL, and after that we will be inserting these parameters on top of that. So where base URL is, so our base URL is actually the URL we are performing our GET request on. So if we go back to the documentation, here it says inside the playlist items list, it provides us our HTTP request GET URL. So we'll copy it and as we need to append these arguments after it, so we will question mark here. To append these arguments we need a full URL, and we'll create a function for that. That name will be make URL from query. We'll pass it our base URL and the dictionary of parameters. And if we create this function, okay, so I am not going in detail for this function. It just creates a get URL for our request with the parameters that we parameter dictionary that we pass to it. Now, okay, after we get a full URL, we need to execute our request. So the result will be, okay, here we need to perform a get request to this URL that full URL that we actually created from here, and this will be an async task. We need HTTP client to perform get request, so we'll be including it into our file. And after creating object, we need get string async. So what this function basically does, it performs HTTP request on this URL and returns a result. So we'll pass it our full URL. Okay, this function is not async. We need to create it async. Okay, so this will also be a string. Now we're good. So now it returns a result which is raw JSON. We need to convert it to JSON object. So for that we have a package. So first we will check if the result is not null. So the package name is JSON convert, and we have to download it from our package manager, and we'll just type find install latest version. So after it install it, we need to deserialize this object and pass it the result. So it will return us a dynamic type result, which will be basically a JSON object, and that will have dictionary type keys and value. So if result is null, we need to return null. Sorry, not equal null. Now here we need to print the result. We'll also create that function. So inside the print result function, we are basically doing is we are getting a result object which is a JSON, and first we are getting the count of the items inside this object. Here we are getting this object, this whole object, and inside we have an items array. We are getting the length of this items array. So if it is greater than 0, we'll loop for each item inside this items object. So here we get an item object, and inside this item object we get snippet and title. inside this item. This is an item object, this is snippet, and this is title. So we'll just print it. So if we run the program now, so first it will ask us for a playlist ID. As I have already copied a playlist ID, I'll paste it and test. Okay, so it didn't stop. So we need to stop the console after it printed. So for that we need a read key. So after it prints the result, it first reads the key and then closes. Let's run it now. We give it an ID and it prints all the titles of the videos inside the playlist, and here stops us for a key. If we press enter, it ends. As you can see, this is fairly simple to use the YouTube API, and it is very vast. As you can see in the documentation, we can check for videos. For that we need a video ID, and it will provide us details of the video. So you can go on, experiment with that. It's a very vast data. So that's it for today. I'll see you guys in the next one.